Unacademy. Let's crack it.
And Ojasvi, congratulations to your parents and your friends, your relatives. How do you think that the support of your family helped you in this entire journey?
So thank you so much for the wishes, sir. Indeed, sir, the support of one's family, friends, relatives, and teachers, sir, they are really, really important throughout the journey because they not only help you keeping up with your academics and something which is required in your journey, but also your emotional part in keeping the spirits high, keeping you motivated every day. Because in this journey, every day you can feel ups, lows, and highs every day. So this is where the part of being cheerful comes up through your family, friends, and relatives and teachers.
So while preparing, you must have encountered some lows. We always celebrate highs. How you
Yes,
control your lows, or you also had some lows during the preparation? Yeah?
sir. Sir, every day, I mean, sir, the motivation levels are such that you could be feeling low on some days. So what happens is we do not. I myself personally didn't prepare in isolation. So I would often see people very senior to me, 4 year seniors, 5 year seniors who have been there and attempted the civil services earlier, and still, and I find them really competent. So they were smart people, they were intelligent people.
Hmm.
So so if you get affected and then you feel like that such people did not get selected throughout the years. So what special are you? I mean, they have similar background, they have similar competence. So the game is that of motivation. So every day you can feel low about it. That this is a long journey, such unpredictable journey, and still it could be your first attempt. So you don't really know. You are less experienced of sorts. So to counter all of these feelings all of these mixed feelings which you feel every day, you need to maybe talk to the same people and ask about their experiences and understand that everybody is different. So you need to just stay focused, have a good strategy, and just stick to it. And other things like stay connected with your family, friends, and you can also pursue your hobby. Like I used to play guitar whenever I felt
Hmm.
like stressed, or I could take a walk in the park, something like that.
Hmm.
So we all have our different escapes. So we need to just go. We need to opt for that escape without hesitation. So we do not really have to feel guilty about we really wasted our time upon something which is not required in the civil services. So this is
how
how.
confident how confident you were when you started that you would crack in the very first attempt, because hardly 10 to 12% people actually crack this exam in their first attempt. So were you confident because of your educational background, or were you confident because of the level of your preparation?
Sir, I think, sir, I was confident to some extent that I will really clear this examination because to my limited powers and abilities, I did my best. So I used to have this rule of sorts that after giving the exam, I should not have this guilt of that I could have done better. So I would give my maximum, the maximum work I could do, the maximum hours I could clock in, because I didn't want any repentance. I would put it on luck, maybe so it wasn't my day. So that made me confident in a way that I could not have done better, and I will surely clear this exam. And there were ample examples of many seniors who have had it done in the first attempt. So we need to take inspiration from them, and keep your spirits high and believe in yourself every day.
So,
Yes.
so do you think that if you're preparing for civil services, you should start early rather than after your graduation? Because you must have started, I'm sure, when you were in IIT Delhi. At that time itself, apart from your regular courses, you would have started, say, newspapers and other thing. Can you share that with us?
So personally, yes, I did start in my fourth year of my BTech program there in IIT Delhi, but it wasn't like I was full time preparing for it. I started with my mathematics subject, so I did not really prepare GS at all. So it was my first exposure. I could only clock like 2 to 3 hours for my maths, so it almost took me the whole year, and I was not able to complete even the mathematics syllabus. So it was just the first exposure which I had in my college. And then after from August 2018, I was full time preparing for it. But as far as the point of preparing in the college is concerned, sir, personally I feel that I don't really think that one should be devoting so much time in your college. I mean, your college or your university or your institution has to offer you a lot of things, and you should not be really missing out on those things, because the civil services examinations are such that they really need to test out your personality, which is unique because of the institutions you graduate in, because of the environment you are brought up in. So if you're losing out on that environment, and besides you also lose the network of people you could be around, because being an institution, like personally I went to IT Delhi, so the network that I grew there, I mean, that is my capital that I earned. So I think in college one should not really be very very worried about what what they are going to do as far as the preparation is concerned. 2 years is more than enough time. You can take a drop, you can do it anything, and people are there who cracked it in just 1 year. So if I take my timeline to August 2018, you could say it is a 1 year strategy, and I think that is ample time to crack it.
Yeah, so that you don't want to miss out the beauty of the campus and the life which one can enjoy rather than being in library and bookish. And because UPSC also does not like such boring and dull people, am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's great, because this is very important point, as many students are so much worried, and I saw that people are sending after 12th in civil service coaching in Delhi, and I was
Indeed.
just telling their parents that you're doing a criminal act, you're ruining their childhood. After 12th you're sending. So that is very good point. You said that you should have a full enjoyable life in the campus, and that overall personality and confidence that helps in preparing rather
Yes,
than
sir.
a library study and a coaching full time.
Yes.
Right, sir, right? Good.
Yes.
One common problem many students face in India generally, that they do work hard. Honestly, they work 10 hour, 12 hour, but they complain that they forget a lot. So first question is, you also face this problem in civil services because it is not your mathematics and science. There are a lot of social sciences here,
Yes.
particularly subjects like history and law and acts. And secondly, if you face, how did you overcome this problem?
Sir, due to the nature of the syllabus itself and the examination itself, sir, it certainly demands some of the very, that those component which requires memory. So we should acknowledge this, that this exam requires memory, certainly. And like every other aspirant, everybody, even the AIR1 or even the new aspirants, they all feel the same problem, that, they tend to forget after, let's say, 3 days or a week. So how did I overcome it? So since I also experienced the same thing, the key is revision first. That you need to have a revision schedule. It could be, let's say, doing work for the first 5 or 6 days and revising it on Sunday, or it could be monthly of subject-wise revision, that I did economics and maybe maths plus some other subject, but maybe I can devote some time at the end of the month. And thirdly, which I think really works, is the test taking strategy. So if you're not able to revise, just attempt a test. So it will stimulate your mind that, you did something, and you will try to remember something. So I think that the third point which I mentioned about taking the test is the most, I think it works the most for me. It worked the most for me.
So when you
So
talk about tests, you talk both objective type and subjective type, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, very good.
And also, one more point I would like to add is to acknowledge and try to differentiate about what you need to memorize and what not. So you should not really be concerned about the memorization part. That will happen anyway. So
Hmm.
just focus on your core concepts and try to start making short notes of what needs to be memorized, so that you can keep revising it.
Good. Now, we are in an age where you have a lot of distraction,
Yes.
right? So 10 years back, the distraction was limited, but one of the biggest distraction is social media. So how you control yourself, and how, if you used social media platform, so can you share that, if you have still you remember that it was very helpful during your preparation stage?
Sir, personally, I think I did a smart move there. So it wasn't like I wasn't active on social media at all. So I had limited presence. So I'm not a votary of a complete absence of on all these social media platforms, because honestly, UPSC is a very lone journey. You need to be connected with people who are really there for you. So what I did was personally that I went off for social media at the very start. At the very start. So people knew that I went off the social media. So the people I didn't really want to connect with at that point of time knew that I wasn't there. But then I came again on limited platforms, for example Telegram or WhatsApp, because that helped me connect with my family, friends. So I had a limited presence so as to ensure that I remain cheerful and stay connected. So we can take a middle path there.
Good. So, did you also watch some interviews of some eminent persons, experts on different issues on YouTube or Doordarshan or any other such channel, which you think could be useful for those students?
Yes, sir. I did see. I mean, if you're referring to the earlier, I mean, interviews of the experts, sir. Yes, certainly. I mean, be it the Observer Research Foundation debates or the RSTV Big Picture debates. So certainly, we need to acknowledge that there is so much knowledge out there, and we need to learn a lot. So we should be open to it. And secondly, yes, I did also watch some of the mock interviews also, so as to see how actually it is done. So yes, I watched a lot of videos.
Okay, so while reading newspaper, did you
Yes.
take note from the newspaper, or you just read it and then you read it next time? Because that is the one concern many students always ask, that whether we shall make note or not from the newspaper and magazines. So what was your strategy?
I'm sorry, sir. Your voice break. Can you repeat
Yeah,
the latter part of
I
it?
can repeat it. When you read newspaper, can you hear me? Ojasvi, can you read me?
Uh,
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. I think I'm having connectivity issues.
Yeah.
I don't know
Rajat,
from my.
can you help Rajat? I was asking that you said that you read Indian Express and Hindu, alternatively, and you read one thoroughly and one editorial of selective newspapers, right? So did you
Yes,
also
sir.
make note from that editorial and news items of the newspaper, or you just read it like most people, common people, read?
So personally, sir, I did make notes out of the newspaper, but sir, I think it's also a skill which you need to learn. So in the initial phases of your preparation, you do not really know what really to write, because we write anything that we think important. And then after subsequent stages, let's say after your prelims or while you're writing answer writing for the mains, you realize that not everything that you wrote was actually relevant for the examination. So yes, I did make notes out of it. So I didn't really just made notes. I also took snapshots. So I used to use the sticky tool, which is there in any of the apps, like or Windows, etc. So you can take snapshots, take small images, which you think like they represent smaller facts, which is there in Hindu or Indian Express. So making notes of the opinions and taking snapshots of the facts or something which is there in very concise manner in the newspaper. So I'm a votary of making notes out of the newspaper.
Okay, great. Now, many students have a fear of some subjects of general studies. For
Yes.
someone, it could be economics. For someone, it could be ancient history or modern history. For someone, it could be science and technology. Depends upon, your background and interest, right? You also may have, if I can ask that, if you had any such subject which you didn't like or maybe boring, how did you overcome with that, constraint while preparing?
Sir, it is natural that I mean, every aspirant has its own preferences, its own interests. So according to that, we really judge the subjects which we don't really feel like reading. So somebody coming from a technical side, I may not like reading very ancient history of sorts or the medieval history part. So it was natural for everybody to feel not so great about the syllabus. So, but how I coped up with it is to acknowledge that this is something which is really required in the civil services there. So leave aside your interests, just do what you can and just put your effort into it. You have to do it anyway. There's no escape to it. So this is what I used to feel, and I did it like diligently up to the level I did the other subjects. So I did not really make a difference there or discrimination of sorts. I took it like any other subject there.
Good. You know, while preparing, a good number of students in India become very tense, very
Yes.
much under, some of them even goes under depression. So do you think that remaining happy as well as calm and cool is very important while preparing this exam, and you won't get anything when you are intense or you are in a situation like depression, because you cracked at a very young age, energetic. So with your experience, what was going on in your mind when you were preparing? This idea of, some tension, some bad feeling would also have come across. So how you overcame at that time? So that would help our youngsters, and a lot of people who are in India are tremendous pressure from society and family while preparing this exam. So can you give some advice to these youngsters, keeping in mind your own example?
That I think due to the nature of the examination itself and the aura that is around the examination, the number of aspirants that appear for the examination, it is natural to feel stressed about it. And it is something which is going to make your career for the next maybe 35 years. So it is certainly natural to be worried about it. And I think not only natural, it is okay to be a little stressed about it, because that is something that keeps you motivated every day. So you need to feel every day that there is something which needs to be done. There is a daily goal which you need to achieve. Otherwise, it will be a little casual,
You
and you
become
will
like.
still, yeah, you will start missing your goal. So how to cope with it? How to cope with it is, as we just discussed, we need to stay connected with our family, friends, relatives, and teachers. The key is to talk and not just be worried about it every time. So there is a so you just keep your stress to your study table there, and and
Hmm.
you leave the study table. You go out, maybe having a little walk, and maybe doing whatever you want to do as
Yeah.
your hobby. Like I played guitar. So it is
Guitar.
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's natural to be feeling stressed about it, but don't overdo it. So like as you mentioned, we need to certainly acknowledge that people go into depression. I personally have been in contact with people who have been into depression, and I feel that the only solution to that is to talk. So I myself have talked with many of such people, and they need to stay with positive people around. So positivity is the key there. So civil services examination is not just about the knowledge which is tested in the examination. It tests
Yes.
your whole personality. So you're going to be an officer, you need to stay positive about whatever is happening in the society, and that is the mindset you need to have.
And in this age of so much negativity around the world and in country also, thanks to the media, how it is so important when you read government policies and programs. So that policies and programs, is it important to internalize also rather than just to remember like any other educated person? Because you must have read, say, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, say,
Yes.
Smart City, and you are an engineer. So did you ever think at that time that when I would become, I would, do Swachh Bharat in this way and
Yes.
Smart City in this way? So is that also helps in overcoming this kind of stress?
So that is a really good question. I mean, personally, I feel for any person, not just for a civil service aspirant, it is good to be generally aware about whatever is happening in your country. You are a voter, you vote for your government, and there's some services which you expect back. And as far as the civil services aspirant is concerned, sir, it would be good if you are able to internalize such schemes. I mean, no, you have your limited capacity, so obviously you'll not
Yeah,
be
obviously.
following all 200 schemes which the government is doing. So you could be passionate about a field. So somebody could be passionate about education, somebody could be passionate about health. So you can have your great ideas, your innovative ideas about what you could be doing in the field. So that gives you some adrenaline rush that that pushes you towards your goal. Yes, I really want to do it. Like I had personally, I was really interested to work something in the education field because I was from IITD. I really used to feel like that I'm around amazing people. I really want, and they, yes, they have a prerogative of working for the economy, but I really used to think I really want to connect them back to the government, connect them back to the rural areas. So social entrepreneurship. So that was an idea that really used to motivate me. So I think, and anybody could have such ideas. You could be passionate about anything, rural development, women education, anything. So yes, internalize the schemes if it keeps you motivated, and otherwise just understand the demands of the exam. Yes, these are certain schemes which you need to know as a civil services aspirant, as a general citizen too. But always see the positive side of it, because you need to internalize it in that way that whatever the government doing, there must be some logic behind it, because you are going to work for the government. But at the same time, you need to know what are the pitfalls, what are the improvements there, because that would the key is to criticize anything constructively.
Yeah.
So the constructive criticism is the key. So yes, internalize it, but also know two sides of the coin. That's the key.
Come with some solution rather than just criticizing.
Yes, yes, yes,
So my another question is, you're from Haryana,
yes,
Sonipat,
sir.
right? And a lot of students are coming from Haryana nowadays, including the
Yes,
toppers, right? In my own many students, Farman from Gurgaon cracked
yes,
this, got I think 258 rank.
yes,
So in the last few years, what I have noticed that Haryana is educationally doing very good.
yes,
It had already produced, gold medalists, silver medalists in Olympic.
yes,
We know that, but it is very good to see that a lot of them are coming in civil services,
yes,
which was earlier said to be, the bastions of Biharis and UPites and
true.
Tamilians and Rajasthanis now coming in Haryana. So, how do you feel that, and how would you promote this among the young students of Haryana that they should also write and they have everything what is required in UPSC?
Sir, it is heartening to see many of the aspirants coming from Haryana and the hitherto, let's say, untouched states of India. It's good that it's being democratized that way.
Yeah.
Uh, Secondly, I think, sir, there is a great role model effect that is there. So if we see people are opting for it, that this is something which we can do, like maybe a person next in the next street or in the same city has done it, you obviously feel motivated about it. And then that is the role model effect part, which is happening in Haryana and in similarly in the other states. And secondly, sir, the education part, as you just mentioned,
Yeah.
certainly, sir, Haryana is doing really well. We have a whole education city. Like I think it's one of the first education cities in the whole of India. Rajiv Gandhi Education City, Sonipat.
Yes.
So the kind of infrastructure Haryana government is providing, and if you look at the budget expenditure, Haryana puts in about 15% of their budget into education expenditure, because probably they have realized that human capital is something that they really need to work on. So these are the factors I think people are really coming towards the civil services also now.
So how would you promote if you get Cadre Haryana
Yes,
IAS, and
yes,
especially the girls, Haryana girls in civil services, because that would be like a big transformation, sociologically speaking, that
yes,
young Haryana girls, my own many students from Haryana, including this year, Garima Daya has cleared this exam. So how
yes.
would you promote young girls to join civil services rather than only army and police, which is also good, but
Yes.
civil services in India, makes a big impact in the policy making, etc. And of course, for social change, it is very important for the women and the girls of Haryana, northern India. So, do you have some suggestions for the young girls of Haryana to prepare this exam, etc.?
Sir, personally, sir, I think yes. Any boy or a girl, everybody is welcome to appear and prepare for the civil services examination. And as far as the girls are concerned, sir, talking of Haryana, sir, it would be very empowering if the girls prepare for it. So my personal suggestions for the girls to prepare for the civil services, sir, is to, sir, stay psychologically strong, mentally strong. I think that is the first part, because they start facing the constraints which we as boys may not be able to face those constraints in the school itself. So somewhere I think we need to connect or communicate with their parents, making them realize. So obviously, civil services have a great reputation. So no doubts about that. But thinking of it as something which is exclusive for boys is something which is a taboo. Maybe we need to break upon. And secondly, sir, I think some incentives need to be there for them, like incentives and maybe in the form of facilities. So
Yeah.
today's age of social media, so you may not. I think you do not really need to go to Delhi for to prepare for the civil services there. So you can connect with your aspirant community through online sources. There's plenty of free resources around. So all what is required is the awareness about the availability of these things, which I think is very much possible through role model creation, as the aspirant which you Garima Dhaiya, which you have mentioned. Maybe she can be the right role model for people. Like we as guys, we can also go and communicate with the parents, but she could be a role model directly for the girls. So I
Right.
think these are my suggestions. Yes,
So in this age of technology and
yes,
democratization of every institution, do you think that in the next few months and years, uh, the online things, especially in education, like IITs have already done already much. So civil services earlier was confined to metros, big cities. Even coaching was confined to Delhi. And one reason why remote people did not have access of quality teaching, study material, as well as testing. But thanks to technology, it is going to be more really all India things as say 10 years back. And would you suggest those students who are in remote area that instead of coming to Delhi and big cities, they can do it from their own home? And that is because living with the family and then getting better education, nothing like that.
yes, sir. I am a strong votary of the same. That civil services are services of all India character, like some of the services there. So it would be great if people, and it is happening that people from the remote rural areas are coming into the civil services. So and I think yes, you do not really need to come to Delhi for preparing. The only advantage I think Delhi offers is the aspirant community around. So if you see somebody, people working, if that gets you motivated, like if you're in a library, if that gets you motivated, that people are working all around. So it is a very personal choice, I think. So somebody like me who has transformed from somebody who was isolationist in the preparatory stages. So I used to prepare very alone, and then in the later stages, I used to collaborate a lot. So I have realized that connect with the aspirant community matters. But due to the pandemic itself, and this has been a prolonged journey due to the lockdown itself, I've realized that I kept connected with the people I was preparing with. We used to talk over phones, calls, Zoom, etc. We have really tried each and everything, and I think technology really is a boon for such people. So don't come to Delhi if you don't if there are some constraints there, and do not think that people preparing in Delhi have some advantage of sorts. So that is my idea.
Okay, that's great. So if I ask you three things which you want to tell to the young aspirants, they
Yes.
must keep in their mind while preparing for this exam. What would be that three things you want to tell to them?
Sir, I think first and the foremost thing is taking it as an exam itself. So it's not something which is very big or some. I mean, yes, we all acknowledge that it is a phenomenal thing. It offers excellent opportunities, but you need to observe that door which gets you there. So it's an exam. Take it as an exam. So do not be overstressed about it. That it's a matter of life and death or something like that.
Yeah.
Secondly, understanding the nature of the exam and the demand of the exam itself, by maybe looking at the previous year papers, and understanding that you do not really have to do a PhD or becoming an expert of something. So do what the exam demands and leave aside. Just be a kamchor if you really want to put it in a word.
Mm.
And thirdly, know when to stop. So this is a very emotional side of your thing, that you often get burnt out, you often feel stressed about it. So you should know when to stop, and syllabus wise also you should know when to stop. So you might feel people are reading three sources and you might be reading just one source.
Yeah.
You just need to understand, reading that one source thrice would be better than reading those three sources once.
Yeah.
So these are the three ideas I think I am able to think right now very intuitively that came out of
That's,
my
that's great advice, because that is where the youngsters must learn from. A youngster like you who have cracked in the very first attempt with so much energy. I'm so much happy, Ojasvi. I've interviewed in mock interviews thousands of candidates, I can tell. But if you would have been in my board, I would have given 200 plus in any case. So I'm
Thank
sure you would tell me how much marks you got in UPSC, but the
you.
kind of interview you gave it to me, with my experience, I can say you got it nearby 200. And even if you got 200 plus, I would not be surprised in UPSC, because many of my candidates got 200 plus in the last 10 years. So I can sense that how they get it. And that is what this interview would helpful to all the youngsters, that how to prepare, what to keep in your mind, what to avoid. And despite being so much happy, you can
Yes,
prepare this, rather than you can take it, as you said lastly, that take it exam like an exam. So balance between seriousness and your joyness must be
yes,
maintained, right?
yes, sir.
So
Yes.
I wish you once again all the best to your career, and
Thank,
congratulate to you and your family that it is a grand success at such a young age. God bless you, Ojasvi. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you. Take care.